Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Kevin?
Not bad. So the end of the year, are you guys doing anything up there in Congress?
Well, there's all kinds of skullduggery trying to happen, and I think that it's probably going to get pretty limited. We do have to finalize the budget, and we are going to respond to the President's executive order on immigration, and we do need to do the defense authorization legislation to keep our national defense system operational. But other than that, I think most everything is going to be held off till we get into the next Congress.
Well, we have this immigration situation that a lot of us are concerned about. Now, Idaho joining the state lawsuit. What is your thoughts on the president trying to make it up as he goes?
Well, I believe that his executive order was beyond the bounds of law. He's trying to argue that he is just using discretion, as other presidents have used, in how to prioritize enforcement of different provisions of the law. But he's gone far beyond that, and he has now basically authorized amnesty for millions of Americans millions of people who entered America illegally, who will now be able to get either a driver's license or a social security number or both, and move into our system. And it totally undercuts our ability to put together a proper immigration system. I believe we need to do everything we can in Congress to stop it. And as you know, the power of the purse is probably one of the most significant tools we have, and I believe that we should use that and any other tools that we have.
Well, how do you expect this to play out, and will the president get his way, sir?
Well, in the short term, meaning in this lame duck session, remember and understand that his party controls the Senate. And so it's going to be difficult to have some kind of a legislative tool until the new Congress takes place. Although in this Congress, I believe we can have votes. We should push votes forward, and we should also allow the budget situation that we agreed to in terms of setting up next year's budget process to be one in which we create points at which we can use our power of the budget to react to the president. And I believe that we will do that. That's part of what's being fought through right now. Now, then the question becomes, some are saying we can't defund what the president has done. And because the monies for the enforcement of our immigration system come through other processes for fees and things like that. But Congress still does have the appropriations authority to control how that money is used, and I believe that we will be able to get a vote in both the House and the Senate to do so. Then the question comes down to whether we can get past a presidential veto, and I'm not sure on that, Kevin. I think this is an issue that's big enough across America that we may be able to, but that's one where it'll come down to, in my opinion.
Senator, we're always talking about money. Are we going to run out of money considering ObamaCare kicks in this year for most of us?
Well, as you know, I have been talking about our national debt for a long time, and ObamaCare is going to slam Americans. I just wish people had been willing to focus on this back when we were debating it. Our national debt is now over $18 trillion. We aren't doing anything to slow down the spending, although I believe the next Congress is going to do so. But we still have a president who we've got to get legislation passed. And ultimately, I think, unfortunately, that Americans next year are going to see greater fiscal problems, not just at the federal level, but financial problems in their own budgets. And it's going to be very difficult for them, as I see it. I'm sorry to bring that bad news, but you cannot just continue to mount debt and to grow our debt with borrowed money at the federal level and not expect that to have an impact on the economy at some point.
Including some good news. The gas prices are going down, but that can't overcompensate for just these regulations. Now, the Supreme Court taking a look at Obamacare again. Senator Crapo, your thoughts on, let's say they reverse their decision. How deep into the weeds are we in this system? Would it just make a bad situation worse?
No, we could back out of Obamacare. I mean, the bottom line is the law is so faulty that it will never reach a point where it starts getting better. We are going to have to back out, and if the Supreme Court will allow us to back out of, for example, the individual mandate or some of the other key pieces, even before we legislatively seek to achieve that, then that would just give us a head start on starting to dismantle the damage that this law is now increasingly pushing out onto the American people. And so anyway, the short answer to your question is we are not so far into Obamacare that we cannot unravel it and move back to a much more rational health care system.
Our great friend, Senator Mike Crapo, joins us here. Kevin Miller in the morning, 580 KIDO. Senator, we get ready for the Christmas holidays, a little break from politics. Of course, you're always working, especially when you're back here in the state. Your thoughts on a special time of year?
Well, this is a special time of year, and in fact, I'm going to go tape a message to all of Idahoans later today, and just to talk about the fact that notwithstanding the challenges we face, and we do face a number of challenges, we are still the greatest nation on earth, and we have tremendous liberty and freedom in this country that is not shared by so many peoples across this globe. And we have such rich abundance in this nation that even though we are having very difficult times right now politically dealing with it, we've just been so richly blessed. And I think this is a time for us to recognize the blessings we have and thank God for them. And I think in that process, we also need to give a very, very special part of our thanks to the men and women of the armed services and their families who are putting their lives on the line for us and for our freedoms, and who won't necessarily be home. Many of them won't necessarily be home for the holidays, and we want to send them our very best.
Boy, you talk about a noble profession, and we certainly can't forget them. Senator, we appreciate it. Maybe we'll see you around during the recess.
I hope we can do that.
All right.
Have a good day.
You take care, sir.
You bet.